Often in speedrunning, a new glitch will be found or a new strat will be theorized that holds promise of great time save. Seconds, minutes, or sometimes even hours of free time save appear to be the result of these new discoveries, but a minutia prevents the dream from becoming a reality. A fairly well-known example of this is in The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. A major sequence break implemented in speedruns of the HD version of the game allows for Link to clip through the barrier surrounding Ganon's tower. The discovery of this sequence break has resulted in the any percent record being lowered by over 2.5 hours from before the skip was discovered. The barrier skip, however, is not possible in the standard version of Wind Waker. In order to clip through the barrier, Link needs to possess between 35 and 6,000 units of speed, which is obtainable in the HD version thanks to item sliding. Unfortunately, item sliding is not doable in the standard version, meaning that Link can move at a maximum of 32 units of speed. Being so close to the required 35 units but falling just shy with 32 units is a quintessential example of the topic of this video. Coming so close to being able to apply new strats to your speed game, but unfortunately the strat is ultimately not applicable. My name's Tomato Anus, and welcome to Speed Cucked. In Fallout 4, creating and loading saves can have some strange results. Some examples of this are being able to load an old save and maintain progress, items being displaced or removed, or even being able to have the game remember a set of coordinates for teleportation purposes. But none have caused as much hilarity and hope as what has since been referred to as head cripple. On November 13th, 2017, Brongle, a Fallout 4 speedrunner, glitch hunter, and former world record holder for House of Caravan Any%, sent the following series of messages in the Fallout 4 speedrunning Discord. I've made an interesting discovery, LOL. If you have a person whose body you can mutilate, remove limbs and head, etc., you can shoot them with a Fat Man and quick load frame perfectly to completely remove their head from the game by destroying it, but they still walk around. If you try and talk to them, they can't talk because they don't have a head, LMAO. In an ideal world, this would mean easy dialogue skips, but most likely I'm guessing it means just no dialogue and soft lock instead. Brongle accompanied his messages with this video of a railroad agent whose head he had removed. In the video, Brongle showed that the NPC was unable to respond to his attempts at dialogue, and that the NPC's head was not selectable in VATS, meaning that his head was removed from the game. After experimenting with the glitch for a little bit, Brongle discovered he was unable to perform this glitch on essential characters such as Desdemona or Tinker Tom due to the fact that they were not mutilatable. While everyone was processing the information that Brongle had just released, he followed up with 20 additional uninterrupted messages on various quirks of the glitch. At the time, the glitch seemed to be just another fun little quirk of the game's engine that wouldn't be applicable to the run but fun to meme about. 6 days went by with no discussion of the save cripple glitch before Brongle sent the following message in the Discord channel. I think I might have found a way to skip our own dialogue. When asked how, he responded with the simple answer of, remove your own head. At first, this idea was thought to be slightly faster, if not no faster than the current method of dialogue in the game, where we just mash the buttons to skip our dialogue and progress through the quest immediately. It wasn't until Brongle posted videos comparing the dialogue with the head to that of without that it became clear to everyone that this would definitely save time. It may be hard to tell the difference between these two videos, especially since they're low in volume, but the one without the head is progressing through the dialogue a couple of seconds faster than the one with the head. The reason for this is that when we normally skip our lines while we have a head, our character will start their line before it is finished, oftentimes saying a transition word like okay or which loses about half a second. When we remove our head, our character cannot say any of these lines and it just skips to the next line that the NPC has to say. You may be asking, how does this glitch exactly work? Well, we aren't 100% sure why the game behaves this way, but here's our best guess using our current understanding of the game. When you talk with an NPC in this game, they'll start their lines after you finish yours and vice versa, just like in real life. Also like in real life, dialogue is conveyed with your head unless you use sign language. Now, the two scenarios of the NPC starting their lines when the sole survivor's lines are finished, and the sole survivor starting their lines when the NPC finishes their lines seem similar enough because they technically have the same input and output. The line of logic in the middle, however, is different. When the sole survivor is waiting for the NPC to finish their lines, the sole survivor must wait until the NPC has finished their line. This means that for the sole survivor to begin their next line of dialogue, the NPC has to finish their lines because the sole survivor lines are very specifically tied to the end of the NPC lines. The game more or less looks for an internal value to indicate that the previous line has finished, and because the NPC doesn't have a head, they can't even start their lines. This is why if an NPC doesn't have a head, the dialogue gets locked up and you can't progress, because the NPC never finishes their line, since they never even started it. So the sole survivor is always waiting to talk. For whatever reason though, the NPC's lines aren't specifically tied to the end of the sole survivor's lines. Instead of waiting for a "this line has finished" indicator, like what the sole survivor does, the NPC has an indicator that is slightly different, one that is along the lines of "this line has finished" or "the line is absent." This thinking was probably put in place by Bethesda as a preventative measure to make sure people didn't accidentally softlock their games by their character not being able to speak. This also means that when the sole survivor doesn't have a head, their lines are absent because they don't have a mouth to speak. This means that all of the NPC's dialogue indicators instantly light up because all of the sole survivor's lines are absent. This is why if we remove our own head, the dialogues go incredibly quickly, while removing an NPC's head, the dialogue will not progress at all. But let me reiterate what I said earlier. We do not know exactly what is going on inside the game while this is happening, so sometimes we observe some interesting scenarios. An example of this is this clip where Kellogg slides around the room after having his head removed, and Kellogg's removed head is still technically alive, allowing for Brongle to try to talk to it, and the removed head even starts blinking. Unfortunately, the dialogue is still locked, even when talking to the severed head itself. After Brongle's discovery, the timing began to see if the glitch will be worth doing in a run. The glitch itself did not take much time to perform if properly executed, so it was the time save that mattered. Brongle recorded the dialogue with an essential NPC to the run named Virgil, just to see how fast the dialogue was. Here's a comparison of Brongle's test video to the dialogue in a normal run. Just this one dialogue alone saved a rough 6 seconds. Not that big of a deal, right? Now imagine that with every dialogue we do throughout the whole game. It adds up. The Fallout 4 community went rabid, a mix of hype and memeing at the hilarity and speed of this new time save. Estimates of time save ranged from 40 seconds to upwards of a minute. Could the sub 40-minute run finally be possible? Community members began testing the strength of the missing head, just to make sure we didn't accidentally lose the effects of the glitch mid-run. It was soon discovered that the headless glitch was permanent on the character. This means that your head won't respawn even if you make a save and then reload it. This was amazing news, considering we load many saves throughout the run. Everything was coming up speedrunners until we hit a snag. Here's the any % route for Fallout 4. Now, here's a grossly simplified version of it, where just the main beats are listed. The main components of the run are transition from pre-war to post-apocalypse via the Vault segment, kill Kellogg, aka the man who murders your spouse and kidnaps your son, and destroy the Institute. In order to destroy the Institute, we must first enter the Institute. And to enter the Institute, we must build a teleporter. In order to build the teleporter, we must hand over the teleporter construction plans to a man named Tinker Tom. Normally, we hand over the plans after we say the line "Here you go," saying this line will update the quest stage and progress us to the next point in the game. Typically, quest updates are tied to an NPC's lines. but for whatever reason, handing over the teleporter plans are specifically tied to the Sole Survivors lines. No big deal though, right? NPC lines are triggered by the Sole Survivors lines being absent, so the quest stage must trigger as well. Well, it actually turns out that this quest stage behaves the exact same way the Sole Survivor does when he's waiting to talk. The previous line has to be finished, it can't just be absent. The answer to this problem was simple. Find a way to get back our head, and we'd be able to hand over the plans to Tom, and the run would proceed as normal. The only problem is that we already tested if there was a way to get our head back, because we were worried that it would be a detriment to the run if it came back and we would have to perform the glitch again. It turns out that being able to bring back our head was all we needed to make the glitch viable for a real run. Unfortunately, the glitch was too strong. It turns out that not even getting a makeover and changing your hairdo, or putting on a hat, or even changing your gender via console commands will bring back your head. It's simply gone forever. You may be asking, well, why don't you just remove your head after the Tinker Tom part? Well, there are two main reasons for that. The first is that the time save through the rest of the game wouldn't be worth performing the glitch, as there aren't many dialogues after the Tinker Tom one. The second reason is that there are other quests after this Tinker Tom one that soft lock the game as well if you don't have a head, in a similar method to the Tinker Tom dialogue. So, if we were to remove our head after talking to Tom, we would still need our head to progress through later dialogues in the run. So where does that leave us now? The head cripple is still not a viable strat for Fallout 4 speedruns. The glitch is definitely not viable for any percent, and its applications to other categories are limited. Other categories pretty much come down to two questions. Can you actually finish the run, and does it save time? The answer to the first is typically no, as most runs encounter a soft lock somewhere. If the run is able to be finished without a head, then you have to figure out if it would actually save time, and the answer for all current categories and routes is no. You just simply do not save enough time without a head throughout all these runs to warrant getting yourself a fat man and performing the glitch. Unfortunately, Head Cripple doesn't look to be a glitch that will be usable in Fallout 4 speedrunning anytime soon. If you wanted to mess around with a character that has the Head Cripple glitch, I left a link in the description to download 2 save files so you can test this glitch yourself. One save file is titled Head Cripple, where the Sole Survivor already has the glitch performed on him. This may be a little confusing though, since the character does have a visual head. This is because of a visual bug that will give back heads when loading old saves, but the effects of Head Cripple remain. The second save that is in the description is the setup to perform the glitch yourself. Simply load the save, make a quick save, and shoot without moving the character at all. You'll want to try and quick load right after the mini nuke blows up and destroys your head. Either way, the saves are there for you to do as much testing and playing around as you please. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to find out how to get back the head. Maybe you can be the one to alleviate the blue balls that this glitch has given Fallout 4 speedrunners. Maybe you can be the one to solve this problem that has left us speed-cucked. I have been Tomato Anus. Thanks for watching, my dudes. Before you go, I'd like to have a little addendum to this video. I have a couple other ideas for speed-cucked videos, along with other content in a similar vein to this one about Fallout speedrunning. If you'd be interested in seeing those videos, leave a comment or like below so I can gauge interest. I'd also like to give huge thanks to Brongle and Gingenia, without whom this video would not have been possible. Those two did most of the research on this glitch and helped me put together the video. Without them, the world would never have been blessed with this beautiful glitch. Additionally, I'd like to give thanks to my boys Das Frank, Merbs, and Waffles, who know very little about Fallout speedrunning, making them the perfect guinea pigs for making sure my explanations made sense to people outside of the speedrunning community. Lastly, any support for this channel would be great, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys dropped a sub below if you want to stay tuned for more speedrunning content. Thanks again, and have an above average day.
I be thinking stupid, but you'll be on your cell phone. Who is that, my Cupid? You catch me glance my eyes all the time. Don't be surprised, surprise. by the notion.